It's time for Let's Chat with Russtek, a podcast dedicated to helping entrepreneurs just like you. When starting out, entrepreneurs often feel they need to go it alone, and I'm here to tell you that's just not the case. Entrepreneurs have a lot of questions, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Nick Russell, and this is Let's Chat with Russtek. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Chat with Russtek. My name is Nick Russell. Now, I know we were kind of talking about growing our social media platforms and different tools and ways to do that. And we were talking about Facebook groups. But last week, I wanted to take a second and talk about being an entrepreneur. I wanted to follow up that podcast with just one more podcast, kind of along those same lines. Now, last week I talked about a meme that I saw, and this meme was saying that entrepreneurs don't talk about putting in the 80, 90, 100-hour weeks just to get things done. Now, I completely disagree with that. If you have the right tools, the right team, and actually know how to get things done the proper way, you don't have to put in the 60, 70, 80 plus hour weeks. You can do that in maybe a 40, 50-hour work week and have a much better work-life balance so you don't burn out. Now, I said it last week, and again this week too, I'll tell you, putting in that kind of time, you will eventually burn out. It may not be the first few months. It may be a year, maybe 2 years down the line. But if you continue with that pace and you don't keep a good balance, you're going to burn out. And believe me, that is one of the worst things you could possibly do. It just completely drains you. Not to mention the mental health aspects of putting in that kind of work, and no matter what your industry is in, not being out and working on yourself and seeing others, right? So I want to kind of dive in and talk about some of the ways that I get my work done and have a very productive 50 some odd hour work week, and how I can do that and still be extremely successful. Now, I know success is different for everybody, how you see it, but I have a thriving business and I could do that in 50 hours of work a week and not have to put in the 100 hours. Because when I was working that much time, a lot of it was unbusy time, right? So one of the first things I want to talk about is having routines. So just bear with me a second. Let me take a quick sip of water here. Now, having routines is one of the best things you could possibly do. If you have a whole handful of things that you've got to get done on a given day, take a step back and see what needs to be done every day. So for example, one of the things I do every single day, what's part of my morning routine, is I track followers on all the platforms that I'm on and my clients are on. I have spreadsheets all set up for that. That's part of my morning routine. Reading is part of my morning routine. Getting up and writing in my my Rocketbook kind of, I guess, planner / journal, I plan out my whole day. So those are part of the routine. So no matter what your routine is, what you have in your routine, it's going to look different for everybody. But having a set morning and evening routine is absolutely key in becoming more productive. Now, one of the cool things that you can do, you don't have to use an app like ToDoist. For me, when I first got started, it took me a little bit to kind of get into the flow, but using ToDoist and having the reoccurring tasks for all my routines, it really helped. With that app, I set up all these tasks in my morning routine and they reoccurred. So if it was just something that I did Monday to Friday, I would have that set, every weekday at such and such a time. And that task would reoccur every day. So I finished it today. I'll check that off. Tomorrow, that task will be back. I can check it off. Then you get to a point where it becomes habit and you don't have to constantly look at your ToDoist app or whatever app or however you want to write these down. And then the next really, really big and it's an important thing is actually physically writing down in a book, a journal, a planner, whatever the case may be, to plan out your day, plan out your week. You can even plan out your month, depending on what it is. I do have a very rough outline for a year, but usually I do quarterly planning, and then I will do weekly planning in that. So the quarterly planning, obviously once a quarter, kind of set out my goals and all of that. And then each and every Sunday, one of my routines on Sunday is I plan out for the following week. I set all of my goals. I set out what needs to get done that week, major projects, client work, my work, funnels, whatever the case may be. I plan out my whole week, what meetings I have, it's all laid out. And then each and every morning, I go and I revisit that and I plot it out in a daily planner. Okay, I have this call, and then I write all my tasks that I have in my Todoist, not all my routine type tasks, but all the major tasks for that day. I'll actually write it out. And then I take the top, well, in the Rocketbook, it's the top 5, but really it's the top 3 tasks. So what are the top 3 tasks that you have to get done in order to be productive that day? So doing that, it actually keeps all of those major tasks and the top 3 tasks that you're going to work on first fresh in your mind. And then, writing down what your meetings are that day, if you have any, what your calls are that day, whatever the case may be. If you write those down, that's fresh in mind. Okay, I know at 2:00 I have this call and I have all of these tasks to get done. I want to get the top 2 done. Then I can take that call, then I can finish that last one, and then that'll be a successful day in my eyes. So that is so very important in becoming more productive, knowing and planning ahead, looking a week ahead, you can even do it a couple weeks ahead, 2 weeks. In the Rocketbook Fusion Planner, and even in the Rocketbook Panda Planner, you can plan out for the next 2 weeks. I kind of rough out the second week, but usually I plan for the following week to make sure everything's fresh in mind and I know it's happening. Now, the last really big thing that has helped me tremendously is using Google Calendar. So, you could use Google Calendar, you could use the Windows Calendar, you could use your iMac calendar, Apple Calendar, whatever they call it. Whatever the case is, have a calendar and actually block out your time. So from 7 in the morning to 8 in the morning, I'm going to work on this. And then I will take a 15-minute break. And then from 8 till 9, and in between that, I'll take a 15-minute break. But block out your time and you can actually see how your week plays out. So if you have meetings, you can kind of readjust things, but you can see exactly what your week is going to look like or what your day is going to look like because everything's plotted out. So you're not sitting there and just going overtime and working on this and then getting distracted. When you're blocking out time, this phone gets shut off. The notifications get turned off, with the exception of the emergency calls that can come through. But this phone gets turned off, all the notifications, and I power through my work. I get that hour time block, that 2-hour time block. I have 1 3-hour time block. The rest of them are between an hour or 2, depending on the task. And then once that's done, I get up, I can stretch, get some more water, walk around the place, then sit back down and power through the next hour, the next 2-hour time block, and go bananas with that. So those are the 3 really big things: having a routine, planning ahead, and using time blocking to really set up your week and your day to be far, far more productive. If you do that, you have the right tools, and some of us are so super busy, you can't get it all done in the right amount of time. That might be the time where you look to hire a VA or hire employees for your physical location to help you get things done. That's where you kind of take on that leadership role, provide them with the tools that they need to get their job done in the allotted time that you have for them, so you can get the rest of the work done in a reasonable amount of time, so you can have a good balance between life and work. You don't want to be at your desk. You don't want to be in the store, in the office, wherever the case may be, all day and night. You're going to lose your mind, I promise you. So having that work-life balance is key. Now, to help you out, what I want to do is I want to give you a couple of different tools that will help. The first one is, we talked about it last week, is I want to have that time study available and ready for you. We had quite a few people already download that, and that's amazing. I love seeing people take action. So I'll put that in the description below. That's 2 full weeks where you track all of your time. So if you're sitting there and you're scrolling on social media, or if you're taking a break to get water and you get distracted with a text conversation, write down, I had a 50-minute text conversation with this friend or this family member. Write down that you worked on this project, that project, the other project. Write down that you had dinner, and then write down from whatever time you went to bed to whatever time you woke up. Sleep. And then you could actually review that with the score sheet at the end of the 2 weeks to see how much of your time was productive and how much of your time wasn't productive. So I'll have a link in the description of this podcast for that, as well as I want to give you ToDoist. And I want you to take full advantage of everything ToDoist has to offer. So I'm going to give you the next 2 months of ToDoist Pro. I think it's Pro, they call it now, Premium. But the upgraded version of ToDoist, I want to give you that for free for the next 2 months. So again, that link will be in the description as well. So that way you can see how powerful that is in setting your routines, as well as planning all of your projects to keep you on track and help you become way, way more productive. So the time study and ToDoist links are in the description of this podcast, and hopefully that helps you become even more productive, and hopefully you can get through your week in maybe under 50 hours, and you can enjoy some time, especially on a day like today. It's very, very sunny out, so we won't have too many days like this. So hopefully this podcast helped you. Hopefully you can take some of the things that I talked about here and implement them into the way you work, so you become more productive. So with all of that said, I can't wait to chat with you again next week. Hey everybody, hold up one quick second. Now, you heard me talk about ToDoist in this podcast and how absolutely amazing it is, and how it's changed the way I do business and how I run my personal life as well. Now, I want to give you that chance to try the Pro version of ToDoist absolutely free. So the free version is incredible, but the Pro version has so many more features. And one of the best parts is it has the reminders that keep you on track with all of your tasks and all of your projects and all of your goals. Now, I love ToDoist so much, and I wanted to make sure that you really got the most out of the app to help not only yourself, but your business as well. So I want to over deliver just a little bit. So not only am I going to give you 2 months of ToDoist Pro for free, I'm going to give you my 3 most used templates. Now, these are templates that I use every single day in my personal life and in my business to help me stay on track with all of my goals, make sure all my projects are finished and completed on time, and all of my tasks are done on a daily basis. So to do that, all you have to do is head to rustekmedia.com/ToDoist, and ToDoist Pro for the next 2 months is yours absolutely free, as well as the 3 most used templates I use every single day. So again, head to rustekmedia.com/ToDoist, and all that is yours. Hopefully you love ToDoist as much as I do, and hopefully, above all else, it helps you grow your business and become way more productive in your daily life. Thanks, and I'll chat with you again next week.